The views and opinions expressed on this program are not necessarily those of this station, JVC Broadcasting Management, or its sponsors.
With so many people living longer, the fear of outliving your money becomes a reality for many of us. Will I be a financial burden? Will I outlive my money? How will I be remembered? My name is Neil Himmelstein, president of Main Street Planning Group. Please contact me by visiting mainstreetplanninggroup.com. That's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. I will introduce you to strategies that will guarantee you will not outlive your money, that can guarantee you will not be a burden on your loved ones. Through a collaborative approach, we will uncover solutions that offer tax-efficient strategies, lifetime income, and legacy planning, choice, organization, direction, and education. That is the code we stand behind. Contact mainstreetplanninggroup.com, that's mainstreetplanninggroup.com, or call 631-647-4694. And listen to me every Friday at 3 p.m. as I host the Main Street Code for Financial Success, right here on 103.9 LI News Radio. Good afternoon. Welcome to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. And when we talk about our code, we talk about choice, organization, direction, and education. And we help hundreds of advisors across the United States, whether they're insurance advisors, investment advisors, CPAs, attorneys, and they rely on us because we have multiple lines of life insurance, disability, and long-term care. We act as wholesalers, meaning that we're like a distribution center for many of these people, caretakers, and advisors to all these different advisors to the advisors, and we help advise you of your life insurance and disability, long-term care, all your insurance needs when you give us a call. So we are experts in those areas. We're relied on for our expertise, and our code is choice. We represent over 30 different insurance companies, so we're completely non-biased. We're not committed to any one company. Not one company has a solution for every person. Everybody has their own specific needs, so we represent 30 different insurance companies. Organization, which is our zero, not only choice, organization is key to financial planning. Every asset, everything you do revolves around being organized. And now that's the beginning of the year, that's something everyone should focus on, is organizing their assets, organizing what you did last year, organizing what you're going to do in the future. Now is the perfect time of year to do that. If you're a small business, or you have to get all your 1099s together, and it's a good time to reflect. It's a good time to reflect and see what you did right and what you did wrong and what you can do better. And I think savings is critical, and you want to constantly make sure you pay yourself. And I think looking at your debt and how to handle that debt is also very critical, and have a plan, write it out for yourselves on how you're going to tackle it if you have debt. Especially credit card debt. It is the worst debt in the world. The interest rates are out of control. Thank God I don't have any credit card debt. I pay everything, I can't say that my whole life. I mean, I certainly got myself in trouble years ago, and I figured out a way to get myself out. Now my credit score is great, and probably up 300 points from where it was one time. But it took a planning. It took an actual plan on how do I knock that off. So I seek out help if you're in any of these situations, and even if you're in a great situation, organizing your stuff is so important. And not only organizing, you have to review all your documents. You know what? Auto insurance is going way up. Property insurance is going way up. I know the difficulties there. Anticipate this year, and again, this is something without certainty. I mean, with certainty, 100% certainty, you're going to have big price increases with your home insurance and everything else. The minute you see all the disasters that we've gone through, whether it's the floods in Miami or the disasters in California right now with the fires, these property and casualty companies that support homes I don't know where they're going. I don't know where the money is going to come from to handle all these natural disasters. It's going to come back to everyone, whether you have anybody in California or you don't have anybody in California, whether you have relatives or you have property in Florida or you don't. It's going to affect everybody. It already has, and it's going to get worse. And your car insurance is going to go up. There's no doubt about it. Interesting thing, life insurance is not going up, and basically it's gone down because we're living longer. So there's more to prepare for because we're living longer. And we're living differently. I think what we're seeing more is more people are becoming disabled and or having long processes of disability because of COVID and related issues and long COVID and environmental issues. We're able to keep people alive for pretty much ever, but in what capacity? And that's the problem. So there are programs out there. There are policies out there that cover for those situations, like long-term care. And the numbers have only gone up with long-term care. People say, well, why is standalone long-term care, why did it get so expensive? Because years ago, if you needed, let's say, long-term care insurance, and a lot of people don't know what long-term care insurance is, but basically, if you can't handle 2 out of 3 out of your daily living activities, 2 out of 6, I apologize, bathing, dressing, transporting, there's 2 out of 6 daily activities. If you can't do 2 out of 6, you're considered eligible to be needing long-term care services, whether that's in-home or in assisted living or in a nursing home. And the numbers are staggering. Of course, the older we are, the higher the numbers. But after 65, over 70%, 2 out of 3 will need these type of services, either in the home or long-term care. That's such a huge number. If you had a 70% chance your house was going to go on fire, you'd insure it, wouldn't you? And so few people have that type of insurance unless they've done planning. And it is financially and emotionally devastating. So now what we're telling people is plan earlier because it's going to happen. And it may not happen when you're 65. I was speaking to a gentleman who's in his 30s, who's a COO, and we had a meeting planned in December. We have a meeting planned next week. And I said, I missed the meeting because I went out ill. And he says, oh, don't worry about it. He says, I was out for a year. I go, what do you mean you were out for a year? You're like mid-30s. He goes, no, I had long COVID, he said, and I was in a supermarket. And I was with my kids, and I had no idea where I was. I had no idea where I was. I couldn't work for a year. I couldn't function. And I just knew it. I couldn't go to work. Thank God he's better. And everything's worked out. But here's a guy in his 30s who could have used, situations. Michael J. Fox in his 40s had Parkinson's. I mean, now he's in his 60s, 70s, and just, how could that be? I mean, so things can happen. So a lot of the programs now are not just like a standalone long-term care, but we combine it with life insurance policy. So you have the benefit of what if this happens to me, at least I know I have protection. At least I know, and now I'm in my 60s or 70s, now my income's not there because of the economy changed or I retired or whatever, but now I know I have that protection so that my assets are not going to be drawn. The biggest issue with long-term care today and the biggest tax crunch today is when people go to pay for it, even think they've done great, they take out their 401ks or their IRAs to pay for their long-term care needs, and then they got to pay tax on all that money to take care of themselves. So that money depreciates and goes back to the government without being used for yourself like you want later on. This is why we do our planning. And we're going to talk in the next segment about that long-term planning with your retirement savings and why you need to plan on the insurance side now, not when you're in your 70s. But if you're in your 70s, we still can do quite a bit. And in your 80s, we still can do a bit. There's so many options and things that we can do if we plan properly. And consistency. It's the beginning of the year. Now's the year to organize everything you have and plan for the future and plan for today, actually, short term and long term. But let's not have blinders on. Let's have a broad view. Give us a call. You're listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. My name is Neil Himmelstein. I can be reached at 631-647-4694. If you miss an episode, you can catch me on Apple, you can catch me on Spotify, or you can go to themainstreetcode.com and find all my past episodes. And I look forward to speaking to you and helping you. Thank you. Have a great day. We'll be back right after commercial. Welcome back to the Main Street Code for Financial Success, and hope you had a great holiday season and good New Year. This is can be a wonderful time and can be a very stressful time. I know a lot of January's people are going over, gee, how much did I spend in December? Now I got to recap. I hate getting bills in January. I just hate it. I loathe it. If you don't plan ahead, it really eats you up in January, and it happens to everybody. Don't feel alone. That's what I want to say. Don't feel alone out there. But it should give you a good reflection point and starting point about planning for next year. If you're getting whapped with this, and it's okay, let me really buckle down, get organized, and seek a professional about if I can't do it myself, and nobody can do it themselves, okay? I have a million different attorneys, accountants. They try and write their own will, do their own planning. You need help. We're working with a gentleman right now in his 40s who's making well north of $1 million, and he went to LegalZoom to do his planning. I'm like, you need a special trust for your kids. You need legal work. You need insurance work. And, he manages a hedge fund. He's making all this money, and he thinks, I can do it myself. You can't. I don't care if you're making, $20,000 a year or $2 million a year. You need the assistance of professionals who do this every day, 24/7. I elected not to be involved. I used to be a registered advisor handling investments. I elected not to do that because I know my specialty is life insurance, disability, long-term care. I'm busy enough with just what I have. So why should I be an attorney, an accountant, managing your investments, looking at the stock market every day? I'm not going to look at the stock market every day. That's not my job. My job is to make sure you have the best insurance programming moving forward, and that's it. Okay? I will coordinate with you if you don't have your attorney, your investment professional, your accountant on what's tax efficient, okay, and what's investment prudent, but I'm not watching the market. And you shouldn't be either. In general, you should be aware of trends and everything else and work with a financial advisor who specializes in watching the market 24/7. It's very hard to do multiple jobs. And this is why I suggest that you work with a professional as someone who's selective in their areas of expertise, who's not a master of all things. None of us are a master of all things. I know enough legal things to give you, I'm not allowed to give you legal advice, but I know enough to say, hey, what's right for your estate planning, and I also know enough tax information to know what's tax efficient. And speaking of that, life insurance is the most tax efficient vehicle on the planet and has been for hundreds of years, because any money you put into an insurance policy, life insurance policy, grows tax deferred. Just like your 401k, just like your IRA, just like your Roth IRA, it grows tax deferred. That means As that money grows in a permanent insurance policy, there is no taxes. There's no 1099s if you take money out. Okay? There's no reporting if your child is going to college of that asset. It tells you right on the college FASA application, do not report your cash values in life insurance or retirement. Right there in the FASA application, it has said that. It has said it for years. So if you want to put money away in a tax-efficient way that isn't seen by colleges or anything else because they tell you not to report it, life insurance is a great vehicle. It is not reported as income if you borrow from it at any time, ever. So if you're taking money out, withdrawing or borrowing from the cash that you've built out and you're retired, guess what? Doesn't affect your Social Security at all. It is all tax-free. Now, for those of you who have lived a life like myself and you're at retirement age and you don't have anything coming in tax-free, that becomes a very big deal because you have people who've built up all this money in 401ks. Not to say that 401ks are bad. They're great, especially if you have a company contributing to it. It's growing tax deferred, and it's wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. I can't tell you how many people I see on a weekly, daily basis that have done great jobs with their 401ks. And there they are at retirement and say, I'm going to retire. It's my time. I say, great. And what do you got for retirement? Well, I have a house. My mortgage is small. I have $1 million in this 401k. And I have Social Security. Okay, that's fantastic. And they think that $1 million is going to last forever, but it's not, because your biggest thing that's going to be is taxes. So here's what happens. You go and you buy a bigger house, or you buy a smaller house, or you buy an additional house. You take that money out of your 401k, that gets added as income when you take that money out. It's not liquid. So I'm retired. I take out $100,000 out of that $1 million, and I'm taking my Social Security, which becomes taxable. It puts me into a higher tax bracket plus any other monies I'm making. And lo and behold, I'm paying more taxes than ever. And now my pocket of money that I have for later years has been decreased dramatically. Where if I had a tax-free bucket of money to come out of, like life insurance or Roth IRAs and Roth 401ks, then all of a sudden I have tax-free money and it doesn't affect everything else I'm doing. That's a huge deal. Now, I want to talk about Roth for a brief minute. I like Roth IRAs. I love Roth IRAs. They're terrific. What a lot of younger people don't know, because unfortunately the economy is run by old people. I hate to say it, but I've had discussions with, my son and daughter. They're in their mid to late 30s, and their friends from all different walks of life all have this concept and ideas and this and that, and I love talking to younger folks and getting them straight. And they think, well, I can't contribute to a Roth because I've got a 401k and I make too much money to contribute to a Roth. Most companies now, if they don't, you need to know, and my children know this because I taught them this a long time ago, have access to doing a Roth 401k. Nobody talks about it. But as soon as they ask, they say, oh, yeah, we can do that. They'll still get the contributions from their company, matching contributions. They don't get the tax deductions now that you do in a 401k, where the money you deduct it, so it makes you look like you earn less and you pay a little bit less taxes now. But in the end game, you take out money tax-free when your bucket of money is much bigger. That's where the real gold is, and that's where life insurance comes in, along with your Roth IRA or your Roth 401k. So I've been hearing about these reverse Roth 401k, all these strategies with Roth IRAs. They overfund their IRAs, and then they deduct it, and they pay it back, and they play all these games with taxes and the government. You don't have to play games. With life insurance, you can put in as much as you want. You can make flexible contributions. So you can overload in the first couple years, not pay as much. Let's say we do this with a lot of people doing college planning. Then when their kids are in college, they stop paying, they take money out, then they restart, and they have that life coverage forever with living benefits. Just a marvelous thing. So life insurance is very flexible, and annuities are very flexible. You know, most people are afraid of outliving their income. You buy an annuity, you can have an income for as long as you live, and they can't take it away. Nobody can take it away. Guaranteed money for as long as you live. Let's look at some of your assets of giving you an income in retirement, not just in expenses. You've been listening to the Main Street Code for Financial Success. I'm your host, Neil Himmelstein. I'm here every Friday at 3 o'clock. If you miss an episode, you can catch me on Apple, you can catch me on Spotify, or visit me at themainstreetcode.com. The best way to reach me is 631-647